few words, spoken by a young man whose life burned with a simplicity and purity that the world rarely sees. Carlo Acutis, a teenager who loved technology, video games, and the ordinary joys of life, also carried within him a profound spiritual clarity. He believed deeply that the Eucharist was not merely a symbol, not a ritual, not a tradition. It was the most powerful path to God, a highway, direct, accessible, transformative. And in these words, he invites the world to rediscover a treasure it has forgotten. The Eucharist is not just an obligation. It is not just something Catholics do on Sundays. It is not a chore or a habit or a cultural expectation. For Carlo, it was the beating heart of his life. He said, "If we spend so much time in the sun, we become tanned. But when we spend time with Jesus in the Eucharist, we become saints." In his eyes, the Eucharist was not a distant theological concept, but a living encounter, a meeting point between heaven and earth. To understand this, you must step back from the noise of the world. The world encourages speed but emptiness. It promises pleasure but not fulfillment. It offers thousands of distractions but no lasting peace. People today rush through life as though chasing something they cannot name, seeking meaning in things that cannot satisfy the soul. In this modern chaos, Carlo offers a simple, beautiful truth. Heaven is not far away. Heaven is not inaccessible. Heaven is not beyond reach. Heaven touches earth every time the Eucharist is celebrated. The Eucharist is the highway to heaven because it is Christ himself. Not a reminder, not a symbol, not a story. Christ, body, blood, soul, and divinity. The same Jesus who walked the streets of Galilee. The same Jesus who healed the sick, forgave sinners, and raised the dead. The same Jesus who stretched out his arms on the cross, who rose from the tomb, who ascended into glory. That Jesus comes to you, humbly, quietly, hidden in bread and wine, waiting for you to notice him. And this is why the Eucharist is a highway, because it is the shortest distance between you and God. It is the encounter that transforms. It is the food that strengthens. It is the presence that heals. Carlo understood that holiness is not complicated. It is not reserved for the few. It is not a rare achievement. Holiness becomes possible when you walk this highway regularly, when you receive the Eucharist with faith, when you sit before the tabernacle, when you allow the presence of Christ to shape your heart. Think about highways. They are built to make journeys fast, clear, direct. They cut through distance and obstacles. They give you a straight path when everything else seems winding and confusing. The Eucharist does the same. It cuts through the illusions of the world. It clears the fog from the mind. It simplifies the journey. It focuses the heart. When you receive the Eucharist, you are not walking blindly. You are traveling on the most direct route to heaven. But many people pass by this highway without noticing it. They search for purpose everywhere else. They think the way to heaven must be dramatic or mystical or extraordinary. But Carlo reminds us, the extraordinary is found in the ordinary. God hides his greatest gift under the simplest appearance so no one is intimidated, so no one feels unworthy, so everyone can approach him. When you step into a church, you are stepping into a place where heaven bends toward earth. The silence, the candles, the altar, all point to the profound mystery that unfolds there. The Eucharist is God drawing near to his people. It is God feeding his children. It is God entering the darkness of the world to bring light. It is God making himself small, so that no heart feels too small to receive him. Consider how many roads people travel in life. Roads of ambition, hoping success will bring happiness. Roads of relationships, hoping someone else will complete them. Roads of pleasure, hoping temporary joy will numb the emptiness. Roads of distraction, scrolling endlessly to avoid confronting the silence within. These roads lead somewhere, but rarely where the soul truly longs to be. Only one road leads to heaven with certainty, and that road is Christ in the Eucharist. Carlo knew this. That is why he called the Eucharist his highway to heaven. And he didn't just say it, he lived it. He went to Mass daily. He prayed before the Blessed Sacrament. He aligned his life with the presence he encountered there. When he spoke about the Eucharist, it was not with abstract theology, but with the passion of someone who had met a friend. Someone who loved him infinitely. This is the invitation that echoes beyond his short life. The Eucharist is not just a ritual, it is a relationship, not just a moment, a movement of the soul toward God. The more time you spend there, the more your life changes, peace grows, clarity grows, love strengthens. Sin loses its power, fear diminishes, God becomes near, intimate, familiar, and this highway is open for everyone, saint and sinner, strong and weak, confident and broken. The Eucharist does not require perfection, it creates it. You come as you are, and Christ meets you there. You bring your wounds, and he heals them. You bring your burdens, and he carries them. You bring your emptiness, and he fills it. You bring your darkness, and he becomes your light. Imagine walking this highway every week, every day. Imagine your heart becoming more patient, more loving, more courageous, because you meet Christ not just in prayer, but physically, sacramentally. Imagine facing difficulties not alone, but with the one who conquered death beside you. Imagine your life slowly transforming, not through force, but through the quiet power of grace. This is what the Eucharist offers: a steady path, a clear direction, a constant source of strength, a spiritual anchor in a world of confusion, and ultimately, a promise. Those who walk this highway will reach heaven, not by their own strength, but by the one who waits for them there. Carlo Acutis was young, but his wisdom was timeless. He saw what many adults fail to see, that the Eucharist is the greatest miracle on earth, that heaven is closer than we think, that God hides in simplicity so that he may be found by the humble. His life teaches us that holiness is not complicated. It begins with one choice: to walk the highway God himself provides. So take the step. Approach the altar. Receive the Eucharist with reverence, with love, with attention. Sit before Jesus in the tabernacle even for a few minutes and let him speak to your heart. Let him guide your life. Let him strengthen your soul. Let him draw you into the very life of heaven, even while you walk the earth. Because the Eucharist is not merely a symbol, it's an encounter, not a ritual. It's a relationship, not a duty, it's a destination, a highway, a direct path to the heart of God. Walk that highway. Let Christ become the center of your life. And know this: every step you take toward the Eucharist is a step toward heaven, because in the Eucharist, heaven comes to you.